Ready.
Recording in progress.
Okay. This meeting is being conducted in person at the municipal building with an option to participate virtually. And the agenda gives the link if people want to participate virtually. The notice requirement of the Open Public Meetings Act has been satisfied by the placing of a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board at the municipal building, filing same with the township clerk, and transmitting same to the Hunterdon County Democrat, the Courier News, the Star Ledger, and the Trenton Times. And I should have said, this is the regular and reorganizational meeting of the Raritan Township Zoning Board of Adjustment of January 4, 2024. The time right now is 7:03. So I would ask for a roll call, please.
Miss Cynthia Schaefer,
Here.
Mr. Steve Farcio,
Here.
Mr. Randy Block,
Here.
Mr. Jim Ferrero has asked to be excused, Mr. Rasul Adamji,
Here.
Miss Lindsay Cool Brungel,
Here.
Board Attorney, Mr. John Drill,
Here.
Township Planner, Mr. Jeffrey Vaccarella,
Here.
Board Stenographer, Miss Jackie Clapp,
You should also mark yourself.
and
Board
myself,
Secretary.
Board Secretary Taylor Vaughn.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to accept Jim's?
Yeah, motion to excuse Jim Ferraro.
Yes,
Someone want to make that
Second.
motion?
I made the motion.
Someone going to second it?
Randy Block seconded it.
Miss Cynthia Schaefer,
Yes,
Mr. Randy Block,
Yes.
Mr. Steve Farcio,
Yes.
Mr. Rasul Adamji,
Yes.
Miss Lindsay Cool Brungel. Yes.
Okay, so there are no comments at this point. There's no announcements. So the main event for tonight is the election of officers for 2024. So does someone have a nomination?
Yes, I do. Cynthia,
Cynthia.
yeah, for chair.
Okay, are
chairperson.
there any other nominations for chair?
No, but I'll second that.
Well, someone make a motion now to
Right.
appoint her.
You make the motion,
Okay, I make the motion to appoint her.
Now you're gonna,
and I will second that.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Congratulations, and the meeting is yours.
There you go.
okay. I'm in control. Okay, I'd like to, we need to elect a vice chair, and I would like to nominate Rasul.
Is that a motion?
I'll make that a motion if there's no objections.
I second that motion.
Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, no.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to go for a minute to the comments. I just want to make a brief comment, and then I think others might have something. First of all, I talked to Jim, and I just wanted to convey he's feeling better, and hopefully we'll get back soon, but he did want to let everyone know that he wanted to wish everyone a happy new year, and he just wishes he could be here with us. And that's all I have.
I have one more. I want to officially thank Roger for all his services. Even though he's not here.
Yeah, and I have a comment too. I didn't know, obviously, things have progressed a little bit. If I would have known Roger wasn't going to be here, or wouldn't be here today, and his last meeting was in December, I would have said something, but so, I've been a member here since 2015, I think. And I think the person that asked me to be on this, I said I would do it for 2 to 3 years. And so here we are in 2024. But I think part of that is because when you look at how this group has kind of come together, and even as new members have come in, it's been a pretty close knit group. And I think we've all gotten along, we've all respected each other. So I think that's one of the reasons why I've stayed. I do want to just mention that I think this board's been pretty blessed with just having Roger as the chairperson for 2 years. Cynthia was the chairperson. Like, we kind of were spoiled a little bit. I'm glad that you're going to do this again, because I kind of was frantic, like panicking a little bit, because I wish, the summer for me is a little bit tough, but you guys do a great job. You've always done a really good
Thank you.
job. So we really appreciate everything. The other thing too is just the fact that I think it's really important, whether you're just a friend, an employer, an employee, whatever it may be. But I think one of the most important things that you need to do is recognize the people that help you do your job. I was just talking to Jackie about this. So with respect to, Taylor, Jeff, John, Jackie, we can't tell you how much we appreciate everything that you guys do for us. I know that, Taylor, I know I'm not awesome at getting back to you like immediately on when I'm going to be here. Sometimes I don't know what's going to happen with my schedule because it's so crazy with litigation, but I just feel really blessed to have you guys like being able to provide us the information for us to make the decisions and to be able to put our name on that decision. John, I don't know how you do it. Your brain is, I don't operate like you in certain ways. I don't know this stuff like you know. I mean, you're part of the guy that wrote the book, but I mean, your mind is unbelievable, man. Appreciate everything that you do. Jeff, I mean, for a young guy, you're taking the bull by the horns, and I hope that the township understands what they have in you and Taylor working together, because they need to if they don't. I don't really, my feeling on it is the greatest thing you can do is make sure people understand how important they are to you and that you give people confidence in life. Like I coach baseball, the best thing you can give to a player is confidence. So hopefully you guys understand that we think you guys are doing a great job. Certainly help us out a ton. And obviously with John, steering the boat here, I feel pretty confident that we've done a pretty good job in the last, well, at least for my 9 years or 8 years, whatever it may be. So I just wanted to put that out there. And, look, Roger, Roger's become a very close friend of mine, and not just with this stuff, just even like worldly advice and talking baseball and talking Georgetown stuff. So, where he's going to be missed, and hopefully everything turns out well for him, but, and hopefully he's not a stranger. So I thought I'd put that out there. And again, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I just want to add to the comment about Roger. I was really surprised, and I'm going to miss him. He was a big part of this board, and I think we did come together really well, and I think he was a major part of that. So appreciated, and I felt like he was a partner. I've been talking to the board. I let them know, I think the next couple of months are going to be bumpy. One, no one's reading your documents, okay? I haven't gotten any volunteers to say who's going to be Roger.
Maybe I can convince Roger to do it still.
There you go, there you go. So, and I know, even though it's going to be bumpy, I know with the professionals, especially Jeff and Taylor, that I know we're in good hands. I know the other professionals aren't here. I saw Jessica last night. I rely on you guys really bad. I cannot read everything. I'm in meetings all day. I never get the emails in time. So I do rely on it, and I sometimes don't get to read everything. Like Jeff, I haven't read your report for tonight. I just saw it. I didn't have time to it. So again, sometimes we have stupid questions. Sometimes it's like, we don't read your report. Apologies, but we do appreciate your patience with us.
You gave your report to those guys. He filed a supplemental report. You guys got the thing from today?
Okay.
Let's get. It's not a big thing, but since we said that.
All right. Before we go to the appointments for 2024, I know I spoke with everyone about the change in the engineer, but before we agree to all the appointments, does anyone feel like we need to go into closed session to have any discussions about the engineer? We have a new engineer, and then we have.
Or to get advice on any matters having to do with reorganization in the upcoming year.
Yeah.
I actually think we should, just even if it's for 15 minutes.
Yes, we should.
Because John, I actually did mean to call you today, but I think we should do that for at least 15 minutes or so.
So why don't I just put together a motion right now? We could follow up with the paper later. The motion's going to be to go into a closed session under the two exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act. One is to discuss employment, and one is to discuss matters which require attorney-client privilege advice, and where I need confidentiality in order to exercise my duties as an attorney for the reorganization in the coming 2024 year. And that minutes of those discussions would not become public until after the appointments and anything attorney-client privilege would not become public because it's attorney-client privilege. Someone want to say so moved?
So moved.
Second.
Ask for this one should be a voice
Roll-
vote. This one should be a roll
Roll call,
call.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ms. Cynthia Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Randy Block,
Yes.
Mr. Steve Farcio,
Yes.
Mr. Rasul Donji,
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay Cool Brangel. Yes.
And I
Okay.
think we should
Do-
go,
Do you guys want to go in the conference?
yeah,
room
we should
or-
go in the conference room.
Okay.
The one behind us or the one over here?
We can go in that large one right off the main lobby.
The one without me.
Calling the meeting back to order. Okay, so John, we're going to move forward with the appointments.
Right.
Okay, now, I'm not going to read every appointment, right?
I think what you should do
Mhm.
is go to, at the end, you'll make one motion to adopt resolutions making the appointments, but I think you should go through each one for the record so the public knows who's being appointed to each position, and if there's any appointments that are less than a year, so you put everything on the record. And just for members of the public, we just had a much longer closed session than we anticipated, and you'll see that there were a couple, because our engineer changed firms, Mark Katriniak, and is no longer the board's engineer. It created a vacancy for the engineer, and you'll see how that is shaking out once we go through the appointments.
Okay, so I'm going to read the whereas,
But no, you don't read
Just
the
the title?
resolution, just
just the
The bold on this?
Just this.
Oh, on the agenda, Cynthia.
go off the, my suggestion, go off the agenda.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, but you said you wanted me to go over the period of time. Everybody's a year except for the engineer. Okay. Okay, so the appointments for 2024 are Board of Adjustment Attorney, John Drill.
I object. No, I'm just joking.
What did you say?
I was joking.
It's
Okay.
Joe, that was a joke.
Okay,
Are you sure?
Board of Adjustment Planner, Jessica Caldwell and Jeff Vaccarella.
Right?
I'm going to skip the engineer.
For now, yep.
Board of Adjustment Traffic Engineer Expert, which is, sorry, Jay
Jay.
Troutman,
Jay Troutman, right?
okay. Board of Adjustment Landscape Architect Engineer, John Morgan Thomas. Board of Adjustment Radio Frequency Expert, Charles Heck. The Board of Adjustment Secretary, Assistant Secretary, Taylor,
So
Fine.
Taylor is the secretary
okay.
and Jeff is the assistant secretary.
Okay, thank you. Board of Adjustments stenographer, Jackie Clapp. Okay, we're not doing a conflict engineer. Board of Adjustment, geotechnical and structural engineer, Jerry Adelson
Yeah, Jerry Adelson
and Richard,
and Richard Adelson.
okay. And Board of Adjustment, we do not have a conflict traffic engineer. So let me, excuse me, traffic engineer. So now let's go to the engineer. So
Right.
for the Board of Adjustment engineer, we have Rakesh Darji. Darji, and the appointment will be a 3-month appointment. We have also,
And
And an interview.
I thought that the board
yes,
directed that he be interviewed and next week, because there's the
Target.
target application is going to be heard on the 18th, and the board needs him to do a report. Is that correct?
correct. All right, and then we have the Board of Adjustment engineer. We also have Mark Katriniak, hopefully to resolve any open applications that may, Jeff, you were able to speak to him?
I was, but he does not have a clear timeline.
But there's, yeah, but there may be a possibility, so let's put him in.
For resolution compliance items, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so that's everything, so.
And for now,
mhm.
my understanding is you're not going to appoint the conflict engineer yet, but you're also
Yes,
directing
you're right.
that Jason Klein be interviewed as the conflict engineer. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Okay, so now you want me to just, we want a motion,
So, yeah, so now with the stipulations on the engineer, if you just read one of the appointment resolutions, don't put the names in, but just make a motion that those people be appointed using this form of resolution, and then just read whatever parts of the resolution are not, personal to a position or a person. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right. Okay, so Raritan Township Board of Adjustment, resolution for appointing board professionals. Whereas there exists a need for professional services for the board for the year, and the municipal land use law NJSA 4055D-71B provides that the board may employ such experts and staff as it shall be, as it shall deem necessary. That's it, right?
Yep. And then
Okay.
therefore, then the motion would be to appoint those individuals with the stipulations on the engineers that you read into the record.
Okay,
And you'd say so moved, and someone would say second, and then you'd all vote.
all right, so motion to approve the board professionals.
Second.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Chairwoman, Ms. Cynthia Schaefer.
Yes,
Vice Chair, Mr. Rasul Damji.
Yes.
Mr. Steve Farcio.
Yes.
Mr. Randy Block.
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay Cool Brunkel.
Yes.
Before I forget, we did not appoint a Vice Chair pro temp.
no,
Correct. Maybe you hold
We're
off
not
on
doing
that.
it?
we're gonna hold off.
You're gonna hold off on that and see how things. shake
Sorry.
out.
Taylor, I told John I didn't tell you. Okay, so distribution of correspondence, 100 in storage. John, do you want me to read the letter?
Yes, please.
Okay, so there's 100 in Storage, Inc., 177 Highway 202, 31 South, Block 63.01, Lot 13, BOA 08, 2023, reschedule request. Dear Taylor, this letter will confirm our discussion today that the public hearing on the above application is being carried to the board's meeting on February 15th, 2024, as the result of the appointment of a new engineer. We would ask that an announcement be made at the start of the meeting on January 4th, 2024, that the public hearing is being carried by the board without the need for further notice by applicant.
And who signed that letter?
Attorney Stephen P. Gernberg.
Okay, so that announcement's been made. Now, do we know, did Mark start a review of that application?
Mark did.
Okay, so that's another one where
Yeah,
you'll have to
yeah.
see if Mark can make that meeting.
Mhm.
If he can, then he should then finish it. If he can't, that's another one that will have to be handed off to Rakesh.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. I do just want to step back and recognize that Lindsay has been promoted to a full member and is no longer an alternate.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Big pay raise too.
Yeah, big pay raise.
Yeah, double what you got as an alternate.
Yeah. Okay, next item is the minutes from the Zoning Board of Adjustment, Raritan Township, December 7th. I don't have any knowledge of any changes or corrections. Anybody? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Randy Block.
And Lindsay second. Can I get a vote?
Chairwoman, Ms. Cynthia Schaefer.
Yes.
Vice Chair, Mr. Rasul Damji.
Yes.
Mr. Randy Block.
Yes.
Mr. Steve Farcio.
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay Cool Brunkel.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to resolutions. Okay, so how are we doing these, John? Are we
Okay, so
doing?
you just did resolutions for the 2024 appointments. You did that.
Okay, so resolution for establishing meeting minutes, then a resolution for adopting rules and of procedure, resolution for adopting official newspaper, and resolution delegating completeness determination. So can I get a motion to approve these resolutions?
So moved. Randy Block.
I'll second. Lindsay Cool.
Okay, can I get a vote, please?
Chairwoman, Ms. Cynthia Schaefer.
Yes.
Vice Chair, Mr. Rasul Damji.
Yes.
Mr. Randy Block.
Yes.
Mr. Steve Farcio.
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay Cool Brunkel.
Yes.
Okay, moving to the applications for this evening. First application, BOA case number 10-2021. The applicant is Esco Precision Inc. Block 36.02, lots 14, 15, 16, and 16-7, 11, and 17 Royal Road. The applicant, time extension request for resolution compliance. Do you want me to read the letter?
No, you know what? Since no one's here on behalf of the applicant, let me take care of this. On these extensions, you don't always require the applicant to be here. If there's a problem, normally the practice has been then to tell them so they can be here. This one is fairly straightforward. This is a letter dated December 19, 2023 from Ryan Elkholly, which is one of the principals of ESCO Precision, Inc. And it
Okay.
says this is a formal request for an extension on the January 5, 2024 deadline for resolution compliance in the site plan application for 11 Royal Road in Raritan Township. Due to unforeseen delays, we are requesting a 6-month extension to submit all final plans and obtain resolution compliance. Now, he's requesting a 6-month extension. What he's talking about is the board granted an underlying approvals in 2022. And that was for D1 use variance, C1 and C2 bulk variance, as well as exceptions with preliminary and final site plan approval to allow construction and use of an industrial flex space building for multiple tenants and multiple principal permitted I2 zone and I1 zone uses. Those 2022 approvals were memorialized in a resolution number 2022-08. The applicant then applied to modify condition 1 of that resolution to allow an extension of the time period to revise the plans and related documents and obtain signatures on the revised plans to January 5, 2024. So this is resolution 2023-04 is when you granted the exception to give them till January 5, 2024. So what they're asking for is an additional 6 months. They want to go from January 5, 2024 to June 5, 2024. As to the reasons for that, I'm going to kick this one over to Jeff, who has knowledge about that. This is where my knowledge ends and his knowledge comes in.
You want a nickel? You got a nickel? Let's go.
So he touches upon it on his last sentence. The engineer has been dealing with the township engineer,
Okay.
but the landscape architect review was a little delayed and he did not get it until December. So he was not able to.
Right, but he wants 6 months. So do you have a problem with him having 6
No.
months?
No.
Okay.
So, and the reasons would just track this prior resolution. So it wouldn't be a whole bunch of escrow charges, just change up the dates from January 5, 2024 to June 5, 2024.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion?
Yes.
Can I get a motion?
July.
So moved.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
July 20.
February, March, April, May, June, July. You're right. I was off a month. July 5, 2024.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Oh, go ahead.
Wait, who first?
I think you
Who made it?
I moved, yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead. Second.
Randy made it, okay.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, Ms. Cynthia Schaefer.
Yes.
Vice Chair, Mr. Russell Adamji.
Yes.
Mr. Randy Block.
Yes.
Mr. Steve Farcio.
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay Cool Brangel.
Yes.
Randy, I suggest you bring nickels next time.
Make it a quarter.
Yeah.
Can you call him and tell him tomorrow? I'll do a resolution. Just tell.
Okay. Moving to the next application, BOA case number 18-2023, applicant Carlo Vitale, location block 40.04, lot 15 Buchanan Way. C variance for exceeding maximum hard surface coverage of 20%. I have a letter here. Do you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Dear Ms. Vaughn, with regard to the above referenced matter, this will confirm that the applicant consents to an extension through May 31st, 2024 for the Board of Adjustments to act upon this application. This shall also confirm that the Board of Adjustments advised us that the matter must be carried to February 15th, 2024. The applicant requests that no further notice be required. The applicant will proceed with the condition of its application on February 15th, 2024. Signed by Patrick J. Sorello.
Okay, now on this one, so again, this application is being adjourned without need for further notice. Jeff, what's the reason for this one?
This is to discuss possible removal of additional impervious surface as compared to what was approved
Right.
with the zoning permit.
Just need some more time to do that. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Jeff, I have to excuse myself on that night. An application.
Yeah, and there's no vote required for
Okay.
this.
Thank you. Okay, I
What-
think the fourth one is,
Right. so why
let's
don't you
go to that one
right, go
because
down
it's
to the
also,
fourth one since it's being carried.
okay. So just moving over to the fourth applicant, BOA case number 04-2023, applicant Thomas and Mary Ann Lawrence, block 12, lot 16, 104 Oak Grove Road, application D variance for second dwelling on property with bulk variances. Again, I should read the letter?
Yes, please.
Sure. Dear Ms. Vaughn, this firm represents Thomas and Mary Ann Lawrence, the applicant, in connection with their application for variance relief. This shall confirm our request to reschedule this matter from January 4th, 2024 to March 21st, 2024, with no necessary, for no further notice necessary. The applicant consents to extending the time for the board to act upon the pending application to May 31st, 2024. Signed by Robin D. Wright of Lanza and Lanza.
Jeff, what do you know about this one? I probably know more about this one than you do, but let's hear what you know about this one.
I-
On firsthand knowledge, not hearsay.
They just need more time to revisit some of the reviews that I've come up with, especially, I think it's the second review that I've done. They have some questions,
Okay,
Right.
so.
And I spoke with their planner who called me, talked about the application. We're not talking about the merits of the application, but the application is for, there's two houses on a property. So they want a use variance to allow the second house to remain. And I think they want to talk to the client about potentially proposing to deed restrict the second house, which already exists. It's not like they're building a second house to some sort of accessory thing, be deed restricted, similar to what the board has done in other cases, but with one difference. In the other cases, the board has always had new construction, which requires a D1 use variance, had it attached to the house. Since this one already exists, rather than go for a use variance for two principal dwellings on a property, I think they're considering whether they should propose to have the existing very small dwelling, like 534 square feet or
Mhm.
something like that, as an accessory building. So I think because of all that, they're regrouping and talking about it before they come in to make the presentation. That's why they want till March 21st. That's
okay,
my understanding.
all right. No motion, no nothing. We're just moving.
Correct.
Okay. Moving back up to the third applicant for this evening, BOA case number 21-2023, Richard and Tracy Eli, block 63.04, lot 11, 35 Millstone Drive, applicant C variance for encroachment in township preservation buffer. Good evening.
Happy New Year. It's good to see everyone again.
Thank you. Good to see you.
To the microphone too.
No, we can't. This is just
You
for the
mean
board and the
dollars.
professionals. Can't be charging the applicants.
Do we have anyone virtual?
No, there's no members of the public online.
Okay.
Good evening, Eric.
Good evening. So I've got both Mr. and Mrs. Ely here with me tonight.
Yeah, why don't you, can you guys
Yeah.
come right up to the table?
We're going to swear everyone in.
Eric, you may want to move that a little bit to the left.
Sure.
If the board has questions for the applicant, are you both going to answer them or you're going to designate one of the two of you? Both? Okay, so let's swear in both of the applicants. Let's swear in Eric and let's swear in Jeff. So can everyone raise their right hand? Does everyone swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? We'll start right down there.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Okay, and can you start down there? Identify yourself for the record, even though we have it in front of us. We know how to spell your name, but
Hi, Tracy Ely. We live at 35 Milestone Drive.
you got to go into that mic. Yeah.
I'm Richard Ely, her husband.
And you're the co-applicant.
Eric Rupenrain, applicant's engineer.
Just a note, I know everybody's facing John, but the
Right.
main person to look at is Jack.
Jackie, that's right.
Jeff Vaccarella, Township Planner.
And the board planning expert.
Board planning expert.
Thank you.
Okay, and I take it from this setup, you're going to have Eric present first what the application is, and then if they have questions, you guys are going to be there for the questions?
Correct.
Okay, so first, Eric, give the board, even though they've seen you before, just to keep this record clean, the benefit of your qualifications.
Certainly. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the states of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I graduated in 1997 from Villanova University with a bachelor. I graduated in 1997 from Villanova University with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. And in 2001, I received a master's from the same university. Since 1997, I've been practicing I've been practicing in the land development field, both residential and commercial projects. I've appeared in front of this board numerous times over the last.
Eric, you got to slow down and go louder.
I've appeared in front of this board numerous times over the past 2 decades. This project that we will talk about shortly is actually one of the first projects I worked on since graduating.
Has the board ever not accepted you as an engineering expert in all the years you've been appearing before the board?
No,
They've
Yeah.
always accepted you as an expert, correct?
correct.
We'll do the
Accept them as an
same.
expert?
We'll keep the streak running.
Keep the
Thank
streak
you.
going. All right, go for
Okay.
it. Slowly and into that microphone.
Certainly. So I will go back about 25 years, give or take, as to when this property was created. It'll give the board a.
Yep.
Okay, is it better, Jackie?
Yeah, listen, look right at Jackie, stay right close to that mic, and just don't drop your voice at the end.
So this property was part of a major subdivision in 1997, 1998 time period.
Go up. You dropped it right at the end,
When this lot was created,
but it was part of what subdivision did you say?
this was part of the Milestone Manors Section 1 subdivision. It was, I believe the subdivision was perfected in about the late 1990s, perhaps 1999, I believe. And this was one of the lot that was created as a part of that subdivision. At the time when this lot was created, the ordinances under which this particular house was built was slightly different than the current ordinances that we have today. Originally, as a part of the subdivision, any wetlands and state open waters that were on the property, they were granted to the township as a conservation easement. This property contains a state open water that essentially bisects the property. As you can see on the map, this is the same plan that the board has. The state open water essentially is located along the rear of the property. It's about 70 feet from the existing dwelling. Now, at the time when this particular subdivision was created and this dwelling was built, which was in or about the year 2000.
Okay, stop 1 second. So you saw the plan review number 2, which we handed out to you before the meeting tonight, correct?
Correct.
This is dated January 4, 2024, right?
Yes,
And if you look at the Golden Bound Bale Associates Plan of Survey, there's a filed map reference, right?
yes.
What does it say? Final plat, Milestone Manors, Section 1, filed September 21, 1998.
Correct,
So that's when this lot was created, in 1998?
correct.
When was and you said this dwelling that's on there now was the model for that subdivision?
This was not the model.
Okay,
But-
do we know when the dwelling was constructed?
So according to this survey map, this dwelling was, the map is dated February 29th, 2000. So that's when this subdivision or this particular dwelling was completed.
March 8th.
Yeah, it says,
March 8th.
it says March 8, 2000 is when Bruce Krugel signed the survey.
We're next
So,
to us. Yeah.
so we have to assume that since his survey shows the house on it, that the house had to have been constructed prior to March 8, 2000, correct?
Correct.
Okay, keep on going.
Thank you. So at that time, the township had different riparian ordinances that required protection of the areas within 50 feet and 25 feet of the stream. If my memory serves me correctly, at that time, only the riparian zone requirement only applied to blue line streams on the USGS map.
Repeat that. Say that again.
It only applied to blue line streams on the USGS map.
Blue line streams.
So not all streams as they would exist on a property is shown on the USGS map. Typically, the map only shows streams where there is a significant amount of drainage area. So a lot of times the beginning or the headwaters of a stream where it starts isn't shown on that map. Whereas when we delineate them in the field, that's when we actually pick up those smaller streams or channels. This happens to be one of those areas. And this particular stream begins relatively in this area. Part of the approval of this lot and the permits that were obtained from DEP actually provided for a crossing of the stream at approximately this northerly portion of the site, which would allow the applicant to go from his current backyard to the other side of the stream.
Okay, so what you're saying is, so from Jeff's memo, right? He says that the riparian buffer ordinance was amended in 2006 to increase the setbacks from 75 feet, no disturb. The current one is 75 feet, no disturbance, and 100 feet away from a structure. He's saying the prior to 2006, it was 50 feet, no disturbance, 75 from the structure. But what you're saying is the prior ordinance also was not worded the same way that the current ordinance is?
Yeah,
So that the current ordinance says 100 feet from the top of the bank of stream carrying water
and or a USGS.
and or USGS. You're saying that the ordinance at the time only referred to blue line streams on the USGS?
Correct.
Aha. And if you did that, that's why you're saying that the plan of survey signed by Bruce Krugel on March 8, 2000 shows that corner of the dwelling 78.3 feet from that state open waters.
Correct.
I just need some clarification.
So-
from you, Jeff,
so
about
he-
what is this blue line?
So
Just for knowledge.
this blue line is reference to the USGS map. And what he has indicated is that the line back in 1998 stopped at this location. Whereas if you look on the map right now, it extends further. And as referenced in the photos, I was give or take standing at the edge of this, and you could see that there is water past this line. Now,
Correct, but his testimony, and he was here in 2000. How old are you in 2000? Right.
Yeah.
He's saying that that's why the plan of survey shows the area open waters and measures it from there, which would explain why the corner of the house, if you look at the variance plan dated November 7, 2023, shows the corner of the existing dwelling being encroaching into the 75-foot no disturbance limit. So there's two things that happen. One is that in 2006, the no disturbance was 50, the no structure line was 75. So that changed and increased it 75, no disturbance, 100. But what the testimony is, because I was looking at this and I was even wondering the same thing, well, why is the corner of the house in it? That would be an explanation for why, which, I mean, in my opinion, legally should not be held against
Right.
the Eli's.
So just to be clear, what is the testimony that? I just want to put it in the record. What is
So
it?
I believe what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that they're going to be arguing for a C1 hardship variance on the basis that the house is located where it is because at the time it was constructed, it was permitted in that location and it was fully compliant. And now, unless the board grants them relief, they're not going to be, it's not that they won't be able to use the property. It's not a taking situation, but the extent of their use of the property will be inhibited because they can't put in a normal rear yard structures. That's going to be your argument, correct?
Correct.
You guys can ask it, what size of the structures, are they a reasonable size? Are they overly big? That sort of stuff. But that's his argument in a nutshell, correct?
Correct. So essentially, what we're looking at now is, as part of this plan preparation, my office went back to the property. We resurveyed the site. We located the existing stream. And we also, as a part of the preparation for this application, we delineated any wetlands that may have existed on the property. This original subdivision, when this lot was created, included an LOI which was approved by DEP that determined where wetlands existed on the entire development. Wetlands have a tendency, depending on the amount of water that starts to or continues to flow through a site, wetland boundaries will change over time. Likewise, similarly, streams will meander depending on the amount of water that's flowing through a stream. The banks will erode. They will get wider. As you remove water or you remove flow from a stream, they will have a tendency to shrink over time. So that's one of the reasons why this stream actually exists the way it does today as compared to 25 years ago when the map was actually filed. If you looking at this plan, the existing riparian zone under the current township's ordinance actually crosses through the rear third of the existing dwelling. This plan shows the 100-foot line, which essentially starts at this upper left-hand corner of the property along Milestone Drive, and it goes in a southeasterly direction and basically cuts across the entire rear of the property. Under your ordinance today, we would not be able to build this house. Likewise, the existing deck that's on the property, we wouldn't be able to construct it. Currently, the applicant has an existing deck that's located along the rear of the property. A portion of the deck along the south side is covered. And there's also a portion that exists around the front of the dwelling. What we're proposing tonight is to reconstruct a portion of the rear deck and also enlarge that rear deck by approximately 125 square feet. In addition to that rear deck reconstruction and enlargement, we're also proposing to construct an on-grade patio. The on-grade patio is going to be about 650 square feet. It's going to be your typical paper patios that we would install as part of any backyard type improvement. In addition to that, the existing septic field for the property, which is shown in this rectangular area, that's the current field that was designed and built for this house when it was originally constructed. That septic field limits the area along the rear of the site where we could actually build the backyard improvements. Currently, the applicant really does not have the ability to construct any backyard improvements realistically with any type of privacy unless we were to build directly towards the back of the house. And unfortunately, with the ordinance that exists today, that construction in the rear will encroach into the 75-foot requirement for no structures. So the applicant is seeking a C1. It's a hardship variance given the existing conditions that we have on the property. Primarily, the house is existing. At the time when the house was built, it complied fully with all of the township's ordinance. If we were to build the current proposal as a part of the original construction, it would have fully complied with all of the ordinances at that time.
That's what I wanted to make sure. So if, like you just said, if it was constructed, this plan, at the time the house was built, it would be compliant.
Yes,
Okay.
So, just a couple of questions.
certainly.
As far as the size of the deck and the patio, considering that neighborhood, what would you say? It's on the average same as the others, or is it smaller, it's larger, or what would you say?
The neighbor to the north?
Yeah.
Um,
Or in the area, like?
He wants to know, are these proposed improvements average size for the neighborhood, smaller than those in the neighborhood, or larger than those in the neighborhood?
I think this is pretty average. If we were to look at the neighbor to the north that has the pool in the backyard, their improvements will be significantly larger than what we're proposing. The neighbor to the south, as you can see on the color photograph, they also have a backyard improvement, and I think ours will be somewhat consistent with theirs, perhaps a little bit larger, but not by hundreds of square feet.
Correct me if I'm wrong, to answer that, I think I did a high-level Google search, and I think this is one of two properties that doesn't have a pool in the backyard.
That's the other.
So they're probably much more improved than what is
Yeah,
being
but
requested.
But you're not proposing a pool, are you?
No,
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 no.
no, but we're just talking about, is this,
Ah,
yeah, size
again,
and what's the
okay.
back developed?
Got it,
Yeah,
got it, got it.
yep.
That's good.
I just wanted to go back to the point of, you said that if the current proposal was under the old
If the current
ordinance,
proposal was proposed in 2000, when the house was built, would it have complied with the ordinance in effect at that time?
Yes,
and you haven't gotten to it, but there's a fence,
Was there,
Yeah.
proposed fence within that 75 feet limit.
Right here.
And there's a 62, there's a dimension from the stream, and I know the stream is shown outside of the open state waters, but there's a 62 feet from the stream to the new improved deck, where 75 is regulated.
okay, so what Jeff is asking you, other than the fence, 70, I mean,
Yeah, where do you see,
75 and 50, so a piece of that deck, I see, you're saying would be over the.
So the 60,
Jeff, could you
understand the
point that out,
fence.
because I'm not seeing that.
I understand the fence. Is there, other than the fence, is there any other improvement other than the fence that's being proposed that would not comply? Because it looks like Jeff is right, that fence, right? If that fence was proposed in this location in 2000, that would not comply, correct?
no, that's incorrect. At the time, this property did not have any wetlands on it at that location.
No, not wetlands. The fence within 75 feet of, your fence is as close as, here, let me show you what he's talking about.
No.
Because fencing, how many feet away from of that area of open state waters?
Yeah.
Eyeballing it up, that fence is, I'm gonna take a guess, 20 feet, 12 feet? Right, so that fence in 2000 would not have complied with the ordinance, correct?
So at that time, this property, only the honeycomb hatched area was within a conservation easement that was required.
I understand, but if the fence is 18 feet from the open state waters, right?
Yes,
How many feet would the fence be from the blue line that existed on the USGS map in 2000?
so that's the key. The blue line did not exist in this area. Periodically, USGS will go through and they will update the maps. Someday,
Whoa. If the blue line didn't exist, how could there have been a note about the open state waters?
regarding the conservation easement.
Yeah.
So part of what we have to do as a,
When was that conservation easement created?
when the, in 1998, when the
Right.
map was dedicated, or when the map was filed. But part of what we had to do at that time is to physically locate any streams that may exist on the property. The ordinance only applied to the stream, the limits of the stream as it's shown on the USGS map. That limit isn't always going to coincide with what you physically find in this field. Where the stream begins, the map typically never picks it up.
Eric, how do you know, standing here today, that there was no blue line stream shown at all on the property?
So there were blue line streams shown on the property as
Okay,
well.
on this lot?
That my testimony is based on what we dedicated at that time. I do not have a map that goes back
Right, but you dedicated at that time a conservation easement.
based on the field location, not on the mapping.
But how do you know that there was no blue line stream on the USGS map where lot 11 exists today? How do you know?
At that time, if there was a blue line stream, the riparian buffers, 25 feet, 50 feet, would have applied.
Repeat the answer, but look at Jackie.
Certainly. At that time, if the blue line stream had existed on this property at that location, the riparian zone or the ordinance at that time would require us to provide the riparian zones, 25 feet from the top of the bank, 50 feet from the top of the bank. That would have been encompassed into the conservation easement.
There's a very easy way to figure this out. All you'd have to do is pull a USGS map from the year 2000 and see if there's a blue line stream shown on lot 11, right?
Correct.
That's the way to do this.
But the only issue for it would be.
Only for the fence. Yeah,
Well, if you look at this line, part of the deck is within that.
that's
buffer.
true. There's a part of the deck that would also be in the,
Jeff, can you tell me which part of the deck you're looking at? Is it the stairs, which is 71? Is that what you're looking at? Because I don't see it.
yeah, right near the stairs.
Right near the stairs, that's 71?
Here, I have my line highlighted.
Okay, okay, got it. Thank you.
My advice is, I can't speak on behalf of the board. If in fact,
Mhm.
there was no blue line stream on this lot 11 at all,
Mhm.
this is like a slam dunk C1 hardship for everything. If there was a blue line stream on this lot, then you should depict it and find out by looking at the USGS map in existence on March 8, 2000. If there was a blue line stream, plot it, then figure out what was permitted if it was within constructed back then. And that part's the slam dunk. And then you deal with, maybe you should ask the applicants, why do you need the fence? Why do you, right into the microphone, look right at the court reporter, not me.
We would like the fence for our dogs.
Like the fence for your dog.
Okay.
What kind of dogs?
Will you stop that?
Two miniature schnauzers. And I'd also say, I think just to kind of give the property a little bit more privacy, right? With having
Yeah.
bringing the fence. And it would be like a standard black pool fence that is, to your point, there's a ton of pools in our neighborhood. It would be very much in custom with everything else.
So, John, could we take a break? Could someone bring up that map?
Ask Eric.
So, wait. And if it's true, we could move forward with this.
Yep,
And then they could print out the map and submit it as evidence.
yep, that's a good idea.
Because I'd like to try and,
Eric, do you have an electronic device with you that you can do that?
Yeah, I think I should be able to pull it up.
Okay, you take a,
Got it.
yeah, but even if,
Yeah.
let's see if we can move forward.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll take 5 minutes?
yeah.
thank you.
Calling the meeting back to order?
The exhibit that was just provided to the board, that exhibit shows the overall,
Okay, so what is the exhibit that you just provided to the board?
this is a copy of the USGS map from the year 2000.
And you know that because there's a upper right-hand corner, there's a 1999 on the left and a 2000 on the right.
Correct. And within, towards the middle,
And this comes from a United States government website njmdb.usgs.gov, correct?
Yes.
So the board can take judicial notice of the map. All right, go ahead.
Towards the middle of the map, there is a balloon, a blue balloon. That represents where the site is, where 35 Milestone Drive is. And as the board can see, in the immediate surrounding, there is no blue lines that would represent what we would typically see on a USGS map as streams.
Okay.
Pretty clear. Okay.
Any board members have any other questions?
Related to that,
No, related to anything.
Anything.
so septic position, I was looking at the environmental report and there's not a big issue about
Okay,
it.
so hold on. There's an environmental commission report attached to Jeff Facarella's December 28, 2023 memo. And it's checked off unacceptable, see attached. So you're looking at the attached?
Mhm.
Okay, you have a question for him about that?
My major concern, my personal question is related to septic, even though there are other exceptions there. Is there any way that can be moved?
Oh, I see. What he's saying is their item number 2 says installation of a new septic tank within the zone should not be permitted. So apparently, if you look at the plan that you submitted, the septic tank right now is located, it would be under the deck. And-
Correct.
And you're not allowed to have a septic tank under a deck, is that correct?
Correct.
So you're going to have to relocate it. So his question is, can you relocate it somewhere outside the 100-foot structure limit zone? Since this is not a replacement, this is a new.
So right now, the issue that we will have with the septic system to try to move the tank significantly from where the current tank, and this is a gravity fed system. There is no electrical equipment, no pumps involved. The effluent flows out of the house into the tank, and then by gravity, it flows into the field. We need to install the new tank somewhere along that same path. If we were to move it, we may have flexibility to move it a little bit in one direction or another. Typically, the septic tank and the lines coming out of the house and from the house into the field, the slopes are usually at least 2%. They're not significantly more than that. This backyard area is somewhat flat. It does have a couple of feet of relief, but I would anticipate if we were to move the tank in an area that's outside of 100 feet, gravity flow would be impossible with this system. We would not be able to make it. The tank would have to go essentially towards the front of the house, towards the southerly side.
How about close to where the existing, the rectangle is?
That's the septic
That's the
field.
septic field.
Yeah.
That's the existing field.
Would you be able to move the tank close to that?
Oh, yes, we could put the tank close to the field, but it would still be within that riparian zone.
Well, that's possible.
Yes, that's absolutely possible.
I'm just thinking logically that way.
No, I could,
close to where things are.
yeah, we could probably get within, I would say about 5 feet of the field, primarily because if I get too close to the field and start excavating, the sand within the field is going to become unstable.
Sure, totally understood. Jeff, I'm just making up.
Would it be within the 100-foot or the 75?
No, it's going to be within the 75-foot.
It'll be, yes.
Yeah.
There's no way you can, I mean, you have some elevations on this thing. You have elevation line 241 that looks like, does it die at the house or does it wrap around the house? Come on over here for 1 minute. See this, you got to talk loud into this microphone. See this elevation line 241?
Yes.
Does it wrap around the house? Or does it just, does that line just die?
241 goes around the backside of the house.
Right. And then you have 240 going towards the right, correct?
Correct, towards the field.
What elevation do you think the current tank is in?
The elevation on top of the tank is approximately 242 and a half.
So let me ask you, why couldn't you move the tank from its existing location to, where's the north arrow on this thing? There is no north arrow.
It's up in this.
North is up?
Yes.
Could you move the tank to the southeast,
Will that affect the patio?
around the 240 line, but outside the patio? What's the round thing?
That's a part of the patio.
Okay.
It's just a circular section of the
Right.
patio.
Could you move it to the south of the circle? Because it looks like you'd be between elevation 240 and 239, which you could make it lower than it is right now and still make it into the septic field, no?
So we've got two criteria that we need to adhere to. The slope on the pipe from the house to the tank has to be at least 2%. From the tank to the field, we have to be at 2% also. The tank has to
At
be,
minimum, or can you be more than 2%?
we can be more than 2% minimum. The tank also has to be at least 10 feet away from the house. So
Yeah, and is it the house, meaning the dwelling, or any
The dw-
accessory structures?
the dwelling, the
Okay.
accessory structures, we could be up
Right.
against it.
So it looks like, again, from layman's eyes, not an engineer's eyes, it looks like you could relocate that tank to between the 240 and 241 elevation line and be 10 feet away, at least 10 feet away from the dwelling, and have at least 2% slope, no?
It depends on the elevation of the tank, of the soil line coming out of the house.
Mhm.
The applicant is willing to relocate the tank in an area that's compliant if we could maintain gravity flow. That is the part that we don't have
Okay.
any vertical
So
elevation.
let's say the board says, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. What happens if you can't maintain the gravity flow? What happens?
Then we would be non-compliant relative to the code. We would not be able to put the tank at that location.
Right, but I mean, so what would you do? You have to come back here? Or how much, I mean, I think the board would like to, again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, but I think they'd like to try to approve this thing tonight, right? So that's why they took the recess and had you look at the map. Is there anything you can do to figure this out now?
There is a section of the property that between the patio area and the deck,
Right,
there's a small area there where I believe we could put a tank. It's not going to be 100 feet from the stream, but we might be able to keep it at least 75 feet, 74 feet, 73 feet, somewhere in that area. There's the tanks on the market, they're different geometries right now. So if there's one that's available that would allow us to put it between the deck and the patio, it may slightly encroach
put
on
it this way, if the board imposed a condition that you got to be 75 feet away, not 100 feet away, are you fairly confident you could meet that condition?
75, no. I think we're probably going to be maybe around 70. I think that would work for us, but I'm pretty confident 75 will not work unless there's a specific tank that's made to fit into that area that's outside of the 75 feet and away from the deck. I don't think, most of the tanks on the market, they're generally 5 feet wide, 10 feet deep, 10 feet long. And the depth is where they vary depending on the volume that's
How
needed.
about reconfiguring the patio?
Yeah, so instead of where you have this corner here, can you make it slimmer so that you can fit that there and then have it push out towards where the current rectangle is? I can show you a little bit. Currently have here, if you make that slimmer so that you can fit it within this area and push it out, because this will be, so it would be moving this out further. Yeah, it would just be pushing it away from the deck a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true.
In speaking to the applicant and with advice and input from the board, I believe we can reconfigure the patio, maintaining roughly the same square footage that we have, and provide an area between the deck, the new deck, and the patio, where the tank can be located 75 feet away from the stream. But as I indicated before, it'll be within the 100-foot area.
Right, but it will be at least 75 feet away.
Yes,
And the patio will also be no closer than 75 feet, correct?
correct. The patio will be at least 75 feet from the stream.
Okay. Because right now, as proposed, it's about 75 feet from the stream, correct?
Correct.
And you're asking for the same square footage, just to be clear.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
How's that sound to everybody?
That sounds
Sounds reasonable.
very reasonable.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions we have? No one's in the audience, just a note, and no one's online.
Does this, do those issues, Jeff, satisfy, or John, someone, with the,
Report.
But put it this way,
with this report?
right, the ordinance says what it says,
Right.
okay? But that's what you have a hardship variance for. So
No.
you're talking about the environmental
Yeah,
commission?
the environmental one, where it's saying, installation of
This is what
deck.
they s- Look, they say they don't want it installed within the riparian zone. And what these guys are saying, well, they would love to do that, but they can't.
Yeah, I'm not worried about, I
right?
got
So
you.
they'll keep it at least 75 feet. They say installation of the deck should not be permitted within, you guys are going to say hardship.
Yep.
Installation of the fence should not be permitted. The whole theory is if they had had all these improvements in 2000,
Would have improved.
it would have been, it would have complied. And the fact is that this lot was created back then based on the assumption that there was no blue line
Understood.
stream.
Yep.
So will the environmental commission be thrilled about this? No.
But at least personally, I thought it was relevant for the septic.
Right, and if the septic's the most important thing, they've made a movement on that.
Yep, agreed.
So the resolution would not mention the
Okay,
environmental commission.
that's kind of where I was gonna
Yeah.
go next, so, okay, good.
Okay. If there's no other questions,
I just have a few comments that I
Yep.
should be addressed.
yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff, I forgot you sent a new report today. Apologies. Go.
The new report only addresses.
Yeah, the new report's,
dialogue.
right, now been
Yeah, I think we're
basically
good.
addressed.
Oh,
So
okay,
he's got the old
The old
report.
report just has a couple items.
So look, we took care of, so they took care of item 5. You need to discuss item 4. Right? He says an impervious surface table was provided, however, there's no breakdown for the deck and the pavers. Total amount of improved is 755 square feet. Do you need anything for them to do or just for him to confirm that?
Just to confirm, just if there was any revision, just to show that.
Yeah, we'll break it down between the deck and the patio.
But the total is not going to exceed 755, correct?
Correct. I believe
wait,
it's 775.
775,
775.
Oh, this says 755. It's
Right, you said-
775. Thank you.
125, and then the patio 650. Okay,
Because that's all part of that condition. When you reconfigure the deck, to be no closer than 75 feet, the total is not going to exceed 775 square feet, correct?
Correct.
Okay, item 6. So what Jeff is saying is, look, the board seems like they're going to be okay with the location of the fence, but you don't show on the plan the setbacks.
We'll add it.
Item 7.
So this plan is based on the actual field survey, but if Jeff wants a separate survey plan, we can certainly provide that, but this is
Do you
a
want that or
represent.
not?
Usually it's
Okay, so,
common that we have the survey on file as well.
so you're going to submit. And item 6 is going to be revised plan to show fence and all structures within disturbance area dimensions. 7 is going to be provide 2 copies of the survey. Number 8. What are you looking for in number 8?
Was there a wetlands study done?
So a study, an infill delineation, yes. An actual study that we would typically submit to the board as part of a site plan or subdivision application, no. We have not generated that report. What we did do is the infill delineation utilizing the typical 3-parameter method that the federal government specifies. And part of what we've done is to locate the extent of the wetlands on this property. So the improvements, as they're proposed by the applicant, we can stay at least 50 feet away from the wetlands as to not impact them. All of the improvements that we're proposing are outside of what we believe the wetland transition area is going to be based on the limits of the wetland. So
That's it, the board.
The board could grant an approval subject to you getting something from the DEP. What would you get?
we would have to apply for an LOI, a letter of interpretation from the DEP. Again, when it was done back in 1998, 1999, that has long since expired. So we would have to apply for a new LOI.
So you can make that a condition of approval. You don't need to make them do that ahead of time, but you shouldn't approve something that's going to encroach into wetlands. But that's not your jurisdiction. That's DEP.
And then typically whatever, if there's an LOI that's obtained, then it's typically dedicated to the township as a conservation easement.
So I assume that whatever wetlands show up there, hopefully, you're confident that whatever wetlands are going to show up is not going to impact the proposed improvements. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it would just be in terms of expanding that conservation easement beyond state open waters to incorporate any wetlands that are showed up, correct?
Wetlands only.
Well, it's wetlands and buffers.
So in terms of the transition area, given the fact that this property, when it was created, only had a minimal conservation easement in the rear, which encompassed the stream itself. What we would like is any wetland that's approved by the state and any permits that can be obtained from the state for disturbance or
So,
anything.
in other words, you want the right to be able to apply to the DEP for some kind of transition averaging plan or whatever. And you're saying whatever permit, whatever the DEP allows you to do, the conservation easement would be on top of what the DEP allows.
Correct.
I don't know. You have a problem with that?
No. If any improvements obviously would have to come back forward.
That's only if they had listen, if they end up with a problem, he's saying he's confident that once that's done, it's not going to adversely impact him. This stuff's not going to be
Yeah.
encroaching. But if it is, yeah, he'd have to come back, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to need help wording this condition, but the applicant agrees with that?
Yes.
Do you understand what we've just said?
Yeah.
Let me just take a couple notes here. Shall obtain an LOI from the DEP. Any, I'm going to say non-disturbance area as determined by the DEP shall be included in the conservation easement. Okay, how's that?
Correct.
Okay. Number 9. Now, that one doesn't have to be a
That
condition,
doesn't
right?
ha- No,
That-
that's just a comment.
That's just a comment. They're gonna have to, you're gonna have to put construction drawings together, obviously, to get your construction permit.
Correct.
Okay, number 10. That's a plan revision, which is a no-brainer. You're gonna do that, correct?
Yes,
Same with 11.
Same with 11.
yes,
Okay, what about 12, just to make sure the fence complies with the ordinance?
4 feet.
Which it
What's the max they can go to?
In the rear yard, it's 7 feet.
And what about the side yard?
If it's in front of,
It's not in
Yeah.
front of the house, it's behind the house.
7 feet.
So you can go to 7 feet. So should I put anything, I know
Not
that
exceeding 7 feet.
they're able to go up to 7 feet. They can
Yeah.
pick. You want to be lower than 7 feet, you're lower than 7 feet.
I don't think the dogs will jump that high.
Well, that particular dog, but if they change breeds, you can ask Steve.
Yeah, you're gonna, I would not condition on what kind of dog they can get.
Height of fence shall not exceed 7 feet. Okay, 13 is another, that's subject to, just like the DEP, correct?
Yep.
14's been addressed.
I think that's it.
Yep. Yep, and 15, yep. Okay. Anyone want to deliberate before you can make a motion?
Okay, so anybody want to start?
Oh, you want to ask,
Wait,
again, is there anyone in the public on the Zoom?
No, there are no members of the public on
No, I see a
Zoom.
member of the public out in the audience. I'm just wondering if he wants to say anything in this application. No, he doesn't. Okay.
I missed that.
He wants to say, that you guys are lucky you have me. That's what he said. I said that's why I said thank you.
We agree.
okay, anybody want to go first?
Anybody wants to go?
I'll go ahead.
Good.
Yeah, so I think it definitely would have not been an issue if it were in the 2000s. So appreciate your patience in putting this together. I think it's a great use of space and expanding. I know you have a walkout basement there, so I think it's a good idea. And with the kind of transition of the patio, I think that'll be helpful with figuring out the septic issue. So I don't have any issue with this, and I'm for this application.
And I'll just add to that. First of all, I do appreciate your patience because I know sometimes we don't normally go into executive section or closed session. So today we had to do that. We appreciate your patience. And I agree with Lindsay. It's definitely a hardship case. And I think with the conditions, and I appreciate Eric giving us the information that we needed. So based on what Lindsay said and the fact that it's a hardship, I think it's a great use of the property. So I'm for the application.
I will make this long. I agree. Thank you for your patience and hopefully, you'll be able to get better use out of your property. I think it's a good plan. And thank you for working with us.
Yeah, I agree with this application, with what my colleague said. I think this is the only way to go to make the property able to use it. So
And you're
I-
getting close to having to put a nickel
Sure,
in bed,
man.
buddy.
We better bring a roll. And he's a coin guy.
That's right.
I want nickels
Yeah.
that are worth something.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
There we go.
I agree with this application. I agree with what my colleagues have said. I think, with the hardship case and the restrictions that are going to be met, I think, you should do okay. So I approve the application.
So I will support everything. And thank you for your patience. Very great job. Especially giving us a history lesson, and I think this was important.
Oh, yeah.
Attachment. Just want to make sure it's recorded. And also the size of the deck and everything, what I asked. This is reasonable, so that way we can just say shorten it down. It's definitely a hardship.
Can I get a motion to approve this application?
So moved.
I'll
I'll
second.
second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Chairwoman, Ms. Cynthia Schaefer,
Yes?
Vice Chair, Mr. Russell Domji,
Yes.
Mr. Randy Block,
Yes.
Mr. Steve Farcio,
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay Cool Brungal.
Yes.
Can you email this to me tomorrow? Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
By the way, is it Eli or Ellie?
Ely.
Ely.
You only have one more chance.
Jeez. Over two. All right.
Yeah. Ellie, Eli, Ely.
Ely.
That was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the ones that we may go back to actually do it now that we have to. It's an architect slash like contractor.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
It's good visual.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I heard you all are volunteers, so thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business for the board? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, go home.
I'm bringing jar next.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring jar.